Awesome. Okay, you guys, well, welcome to the call. My name is Tinya Gray, and you guys have joined us here on the Start Rebels Zoom Room virtual meeting. And I started this call about 12 weeks ago. I thought it would be a great idea to pull together Start peeps from across the provinces, across Canada, and of course we've got people, sometimes jumping on from other places as well. But the whole purpose of this call was to bring together you guys so that you could get to know each other's stories, get to know where each other lived, what was happening in the different cities and provinces, so we could pull Canada closer from a START perspective. I am part of the START graduate group, so there's a few of us on this call here who are grads, but definitely, obviously, very, very much interested in supporting you guys on every level. And I am a mom of 2 START age individuals that are slowly coming around. So it's very much a personal interest for me too, to really get this ramped up and to provide some tools, some coaching, some support in a different way for you guys. So the purpose of this call is, like I said, to share, your testimonials so you guys can get to know each other's stories, because when you're sharing with people, it's not just your story that may resonate. It may be someone else's story that you've learned to help resonate with them. Also to let you guys share and experience, what your events are, where they're happening, so that if you've got a teammate in another province, now we've got John and Tammy here from Moncton, anyone in that province and you want to be able to get them to an event or share some information, we've got people we can reach into with the one team mentality. And so that's really what we're coming to you with. So the call is meant to be half an hour, 40 minutes tops is typically what we do. And just as a disclaimer, we, as you guys know, you're all Isagenix associates, but for someone who may be listening into this on the YouTube channel, we do not claim to treat, prevent, cure, or diagnose any illness or disease. We are a health and wellness company, and we have nutritional cleansing products for all different reasons, for energy and performance, for weight management, for healthy aging, as well as wealth creation. So we don't make any claims from a financial perspective either. What people put into this is what they'll get out of it. You're going to hear some stories about some people that have had some physical transformations as well as financial transformations. And again, no 2 journeys are the same. Okay, so we make no claims about how much will last or anything like that. It's completely up to you and what you put into it. But the information shared here could really help you transform your life in an incredible way. So this is the 12th week that we've been having this call on a Sunday night, and we've had so many amazing contributors, and we've got 2 more incredible people sharing tonight that I'm super stoked to listen to. So before we get into the main meat of the call here, I just wanted to touch base on a couple of things. So we're still in free enrollment until tonight at midnight. Okay, so hopefully you guys have been able to capitalize on that and really reach into people that have been sitting on the fence. We've also just released our 2 new vegan shakes, the dairy-free, in the chocolate and the vanilla chai. So hopefully you've added that to your personal order so you can try it. You can speak from experience. And also to share with people, yeah, woohoo, Erin's representing. And to share with people, to share with people who that may have been their reason for not getting started in the past. Okay, some people do have, some dairy challenges or for ethical reasons. So we have even more solutions, which is fantastic. Our company just doesn't stop. We are still in our Crystal Executive deadline, and Erin Marshall, we can celebrate her right now. She just reached her Crystal Exec reset, so she did it again, which is so fantastic. And it's on the table for everyone, and she'll talk a little bit maybe in her story about just making a decision and, setting your sights on it, visualizing it, believing it, feeling it, and then just making it happen. So you guys, it's still on the table until July 13th. So I would set your date for the 10th at the latest because you want to get that done. Okay. Events, we've got Toronto events on a Wednesday night in Live Out Loud Toronto, which is a START event as well as a START grad event upstairs. The Live Out Loud online, I was hoping Scott Huron's going to be here, but I don't think he's here right now. But 9 o'clock on Tuesday night, they're doing a START Zoom call. So if you look it up, I will actually post it again in the START Canada group. But we're looking for contributors, and this is meant to be an opportunity meeting, you guys, so that you can bring people out online, Zoom format like this, to learn more about what Isagenix is all about. Okay? Other than that, big one is University in Action. So if you guys don't have your tickets, make sure that you consider getting your tickets like ASAP. It's a David Wood event. We don't get him here in Toronto very often. I have been learning from David for 10 years. It has truly transformed my life. He's an incredible man, and we are so fortunate to have him as part of Isagenix. And you will leave that weekend just taking your whole self. You'll change at such a high level personally as well as in your business. So I highly recommend that you get yourself there, get your teammates there, do what you can, bunk in rooms, do what you got to do, but get yourselves there. On that note, I think I've covered what I wanted to cover. So we are going to get rolling. So tonight's call, we've got the incredible Shamus Fynes is here, and we've got the amazing Erin Marshall. So we're going to start with Shamus. So I'll just give him a quick intro. And his first bit, he's going to come back later after Erin shares her bit. He's going to talk about, firstly, the Replenish, the Hydrate, which they're rebranding it into the Hydrate. But Shamus is from Toronto. He is married to his gorgeous wife, April. They have 2 beautiful little daughters. So he's a very busy family man. He has experience and expertise with solar and environmental solutions. He's also a certified personal trainer, so he's got quite a wealth of information. And he is a schooled actor with a formal education, so he does pursue that as well. And what I love about Shamus is that when I was thinking about, my introduction for him, 3 P words came up for me with Shamus. Personality, he's got the most magnetic personality of, the people that I've met in Isagenix. There's so many of us that are drawn to each other, but there's something about Shamus. He's just so approachable, and I love that about him. He's persistent. The fact that he's involved in so many different things speaks to the character that he has, but he's also very persistent in what he does, and the persistence in a very positive way that he's very passionate. So lots of P words when it comes to Shamus. And then posture. When he speaks, he postures himself in such a way that I truly believe it's not what we say, but it's how we say it. And this man knows how to posture himself. So on that note, Shamus, I'm going to pass it over to you, my friend, to share with us some info about Replenish and share your story, please. Give it up for Shamus, guys.
Tinya, thank you so much. Those 3 Ps were very humbling. So I'm pleasantly surprised for another P. So thank you very much, and thank you for all you do. This call is amazing. Apologies for being away for a bit, but it's nice to be back and great to see everybody on here. And kudos to everybody for showing up. It's Sunday night. It's super hot out. You could be anywhere but here, and you chose to be here. So thank you very much. For me, my story takes us back. It really takes us back a long way. I never really knew what I wanted to do with my life. I just knew that I wanted to always do things that were important to me. And I remember in high school, really focused on, what's my future going to look like? And I thought, you know what? I can't see myself being tied down to any specific job or vocation. And I kind of like, performing for people. I like making people feel good. Maybe I'll be an actor. So I went to school for that and followed it professionally, and realized pretty quickly that, especially in Canada, being a creative professional of any kind involves becoming your own patron. You really need some other economic vehicles to help support yourself. And so fulfilled, the full stereotype, did every kind of service job, serving, bartending, catering, etc., and literally fell ass backwards into solar. And it was actually my boss at the solar company, who was friends with Dave Anderson, who some of you may know in Isagenix, who actually just opened and spoke at Peter Kelly's event in Phoenix, which I hear was just outstanding, called The New Way Live. And it was that simple referral of, oh, hey, my friend Shamus is kind of into that like health stuff. So I'm the perfect example of always share your story with people, because you never know who they know. It clearly was not for Dave's friend, Dave. It's really simple and complicated, but Dave's friend, Dave, was just like, no, not my deal, but you should talk to Shamus. And so Dave talked to me, and he hit me at the perfect time. I was expecting my first daughter. I was the heaviest I ever was. I was stressed out. I was burnt out, and I needed a solution. And Isagenix was that. Started the 30-day cleansing system, released 14 pounds in 2 weeks, felt awesome, energy went up. And I really fell into it. When I started learning more about the compensation plan, which I'm going to talk about in a bit, I realized it hit on all of the things that were important to me. And as a result, I've decided to build this business in the pocket of my, as Tinya said, orange, lemon lime, and refreshing grape. And excuse me, it is used to sustain performance. It supports hydration and faster recovery. It's enhanced with vitamin C and B complex. And it's a refreshing sports drink. I always think of it as Isagenix, ADE, because it sort of replaces all of those generic aids that are out there, ADES, and just helps as a natural fortifier. So great for while you're working out, great just for hydration on these hot sunny days, drinking a lot of water, you need something different, throw a couple scoops into a shaker, good to go. Great. My daughter loves it. She loves drinking purple drink. Daddy, can we have purple drink? Purple drink. For those Chappelle fans, it's kind of funny. I laugh every time she says purple drink. I correct her and say purple drink, but it's great. I know it's good for her. I know there isn't the artificial sugars and flavors and all those kinds of things, as Tinya awesomely product promotes that. Excellent. Thank you, Tinya. And yeah, from the vitamin C, the vitamin B. And for me, I'm not a super sciencey person. I don't delve huge into ingredients, but for me, it's refreshing. I know it's nutritious, and for me, it's a great alternative. I know I have friends that maybe have a little too much fun on evenings, that are looking for ways to sort of help themselves recover the next day, and they take some of those other aids. And this is a perfect replenish or perfect hydrate solution to that. So if you find yourself having too much fun the night before, Amped Hydrate is a great solution for that, to help with electrolytes and all those kinds of vitamins and stuff. So I'll turn it back to Tinya, who can introduce Erin, and then I'll come back and talk about the comp plan.
Fantastic. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Shamus. That's great information. And your story is always so inspirational. And I love how you said that your daughter calls it the purple drink. That's one thing that I started doing right away when I started Isagenix, was putting a jug of that in the fridge. So my kids ended up only having that and water. That was all they ever drank, and they never were asking for anything more. And a quick story, if you don't mind me sharing a quick story, my youngest one came home from hockey one time with his dad, and his dad always used to buy them Gatorade, and it used to make me really cranky. And my youngest said to me, "Mom, how come you don't like it when Dad buys us Gatorade?" And I said, "Well, what color is the Gatorade?" And he said, "Blue." And I said, "And what color is your tongue when you drink it?" "Blue." And I said, "And what color is your pee after you go to the bathroom, after you drink it?" "Yellow." And I said, "So where does the blue go?" And he kind of sat there and looked at me, and he was only like 10. And I said to him, "Honey, it becomes a part of your body because it's a chemical. And so those chemicals build up in our body and they cause us challenges." So although that wasn't my intent to come up with a great explanation for a kid, it's a great explanation for a kid or an adult, because the reality is that's what happens, right? So that's something that you could share, with your kids, right? Yeah, where does the purple go? I know, is our pee purple? I know. But you can rest assured that Isagenix isn't going to give them toxic dyes, so. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you for that. And again, it's also a great way for people to flavor their shakes a little bit if they get bored with the shakes as well. I love it. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to pass it over to beautiful Erin after I introduce her. So Erin, thank you so much for joining us. Erin is from Peterborough, Ontario. She is a busy mama of 2 young children. Beau is 6 and Maya Claire, am I saying that right? Yep. Is 4, and they're super adorable children. I loved when we were at Red and White. I don't know if you guys were at Red and White, seeing them up on stage. And Maya was like looking at herself in the monitor, and so was Beau, and they were like, kind of checking themselves out, and like, yeah, she was like being just awesome, super awesome kids. It was so fun, just true to character. I just love it. Erin is a 5-star Golden Circle, 3-star executive. So, if she's 3-star executive, that means that she's helped 3 people achieve executive, which is super powerful. And the fact that she has achieved, 5-star level, it just speaks to her, dedication and to her team building skills. She started in 2009 for the product. She'll share a little bit more about that journey with us. She is a retired bio and chem teacher. She's a baseball coach, and she is, I think B-ball means baseball. Is that right, Erin? Okay.
Basketball.
And her husband and herself, as well as the children, have been featured in our amazing new Canadian video, Isagenix Difference in Canada. How many of you have seen that video and love it? Boop, boop. It's so awesome, right? Such an awesome video. So we're so grateful to have you here. And an interesting fact about Erin Marshall, and I haven't got to witness it yet, but maybe at one of the events we'll get to witness her doing karaoke. And she likes Drake, and she loves the Toronto Raptors. So on that note, I just want to share with you what I haven't got to know you very well, Erin, but I've got to spend some time chatting with you. And willingness is one of your words, so it's a W word. Sorry, Siri's picking up what I'm saying here. Wisdom. I just feel like you have a depth of wisdom in how you share, how you speak, and you know what you tell people, whether it's on stage or in person. You just have this real serious wisdom about you. And this is a girl who does whatever it takes. So I pass it over to you, my good friend Erin Marshall, to share with us more about launch parties and your incredible story.
Thank you, Tinya. I just, like, if everybody could just give like a huge kudos to Tinya for organizing this. I'm a little late coming on these calls, but I was on the last one and the one before that, and just huge kudos to you. One team, Tinya, you're awesome. You're so awesome. And Shamus too. Shamus and I met way back. I can't remember the event, but it was just like, yep, that's my homeboy right there. And that's my cousin's name too. So I love the name Shamus. And thanks for sharing your story. I did not know anything about that acting thing. Crazy. Like that was, we didn't get in the pair, like share 3 things about you. So super, super cool. My story really quickly, and please, Tinya, give me the heave-ho whenever you need to. Like Tinya mentioned before Isagenix, I was a teacher. I was a basketball and soccer player as well, so pretty competitive person with myself. I love to have fun. I think that's something that has really, really helped my business. Somebody that is like me after I share my story, and you can share this story with them. So I love to have fun, and being a teacher in Ontario is an amazing job. I love all of our kids' teachers, especially in Ontario. The curriculum is awesome. My kids go to the schools now, so like they're 6 and 4. But there's a negative environment. I wasn't the free bird that I was able to be. I really craved a little bit something more that I could create for myself. And I was always an entrepreneur. When I had a girls basketball camp for 8 years, that I created myself and helped pay for different things in my life. So I always had a little bit of entrepreneurialism inside of me. And like the video said, my grandma introduced me to Isagenix. She's 85. She looks phenomenal for her age. That was just a little side note on that. The production crew was coming, and I called my grandma Mama. I'm like, Mama, I really need you to come, Wednesday between 8 and 10. They want to feature you. You're in a script and everything. That video. And she introduced me to her, my grandma doesn't have anything to do with the business, but her neighbor did, Linda. And she introduced me to the product, started with a 30-day program after I had my son. Like I said, gained a substantial amount of weight in the video. And that was one of the best decisions of my entire life. It opened up so many doors. I believe in the law of attraction, and you're here for a reason because you were attracted the way that I was attracted to this. So yeah, I could go on about my story, but I really want to, you guys have asked me to talk about launch parties. And I think when Tinya first asked me about this, I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, I love to talk about connecting and stuff like that. But launch parties is the basis of our connection, the art of connection that happens during 27, you guys can do the math. And that was how I created the foundation of my business, was the launch parties. And I know so many people do so many great things. And shout out to Morgan. Marg's right now that's outside listening to this call. I love that. I love to see you on your deck. So I made a few notes on the launch party tips. I know a lot of people that I talk to now, because we're all entrepreneurial and we all are creative beings and we come into this for the business and the freedom, sometimes we want to do things differently. I know that was what I wanted to do. Oh. I think that hopefully you guys can still hear me. We want to do things differently. And the one thing that I have learned, and the tip that I will share is, and you've probably heard it 1,000 times, but make it duplicatable. how we talk to people and invite them to the launch parties, and how we send out our invitations, and that is unique to you, and you have to be you. You can't, be a duplicatable being in every conversation, because people can feel that and it's not true to you. But the actual launch party, I've learned the hard that you take I always start with an introduction, introduce people to my house, come on in, show 2 quick videos, have samples, have short testimonials, and then close the room. I went through that pretty quick, but it's boom, 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 boom. You can go through the video to go through it as well. So have people, and make sure you greet people. I always have music on because that's my style. Have it your style to what your vibe is. Show 2 videos, 1 product, 1 business. We have so many amazing videos now that it's phenomenal. You can choose whatever floats your boat. Do a short testimonial and then close the room. And if it's okay with you, I'm going to share with you how to do that. So a short testimonial and how to close the room. The biggest thing is how to invite people. I think that's the most important thing, of getting people into your actual launch party. And that's where we have people like, Erin, nobody's coming to my launch party. I had 1 person. How do I do that? So, but first of all, I want to talk about the short testimonial and the closed room. I have some tips on do's and don'ts, and this is all just from my personal experience. Take it or leave it. But again, I've learned the don'ts. I'll start with that first. The don'ts that I've made super mistakes with. Don't mad copy and paste invitations on Facebook, invitations on text messages, on Instagram, whatever it is. People sense that. The only way that you're going to get people to come to your launch party is if you pick up the phone and you call them. That's the biggest thing, right? I've learned over and over and over and over again, people are going to come if you actually make that. The other don't I have is opening up the room, and some people might disagree with me on this, but opening up the room to questions and to sharing. I've been into many launch parties where we talk, it's almost like it can be an AA meeting, and which is totally fine, right? You just go around, and so many people are passionate about talking about their stories. Let that happen. Let that vibing happen at the end of your launch party. That is the gold. That's the best part, right? When you can close the room and then you can talk with everybody, and people can get their questions answered one-on-one. So at the beginning of the launch party, what you do when you intro is say, we want everybody to get their questions answered. And we have all the tools here. We have our an iPad set up, our computer, our phones, with all the tools that you need. Please ask your questions at the end, and we're so happy to help you out to get those answered. Because I've been in disasters where somebody will raise their, like, I tried that shake 4 years ago and I didn't like the taste, and blah blah blah. Like, stuff can come up that just really sets the launch party off course. You might want to make this quick, efficient, and then you want that magic to happen where people connect at the end and they find their tribe. We've all found that, right? We found that one person at the launch party that we're like, oh my gosh, I want to talk to them more, or what's their story? So those are tips that I just have for you guys. The other one is, I just wrote it down here, how to close the room. I'm going to share my very first launch party I had probably 4.5 years ago. And I called it, because again, I wanted to be creative, Customer Appreciation Night at Erin Marshall's house. Bottle of wine, come, zero pressure, because that's just what I was like before, right? No pressure, but come. So I had people come. We sat out on the deck. It was like a nice day like this. And yeah, talk about anything. And at the end of, it was about an hour and a half later, and a girlfriend's mother came up to me and she's like, so Erin, are we going to actually talk about Isagenix? And I'm like, okay, what would you like to know? And it was just disaster zone, disaster. But it was the best learning for me, because I'm like, okay, I didn't do this right at all. How do I do it? Watch the video, get the tips. I have to make this duplicatable. The other don't try to be a product expert. In my bio, you heard that I was a biology and chemistry teacher in Ontario, right? And I thought that just because I had that, I had to memorize every single ingredient on the back of the box. And the first 2 years of the business, I could tell you all the 46 ingredients in Ionic Supreme and what they did. And that also was not good for my business. People enrolled, but they didn't want to do the business because they didn't think that they could, or they had time to memorize all those things. And that's not duplicatable. So duplicatable means a lot to me now. It's a phenomenal resource tools we have. It's the leverage of our business. It's everything, right? So how do you actually invite people and connect with people? And that's really what it comes down to with a launch party. So I like to use language now like tasting party, Wellness Wednesday. I try to, a big part of my business is young moms. So if I'm dealing with a group of young moms, I will mention, we're going to have a tasting party and, some drinks. When the pina colada came out, we had great pina colada Wellness Wednesdays, and the pina coladas had little umbrellas on them. If I'm working with more of a health and fitness sector, I'm not going to bring out the bottle of wine. I'm not going to. I'm going to make sure that I have my iPad and my computer set up to get into those analytical questions at the end. But the real magic is when you close the room. And if you're closing the room, and those words were scary for me because I was a teacher, and that sounded something I had no experience with. And Sue Field taught me this, I believe, and I've used it ever since, and I still practice it. So if you're listening to this and you haven't heard this, please, you maybe want to take a note, because I'm really glad I did. So how to close the room at your launch party, okay? And it's so easy. And when things go great, you're sharing the testimonials after the videos. You're maybe sharing about the IsaBody challenge or a few little nuggets. After, you can say, okay, we're going to stay after, and we're going to make sure that you get your questions answered. But you might be in one of three places. And this is it. You get it. I actually just memorized this. That's how my brain works. But you might be in one of three places. One, you might have a few questions before you start. And we've got all the tools here to help you get those questions answered so that you can start. So if that's you, if you're in that first spot, please ask us and we're going to get your questions answered. Two, you would love to get started today. And we're going to help you with that. There's people here that will take your information. We'd love to enter you in the IsaBody challenge tonight if that's something that you're interested in. And we're really excited for that journey, and we're here to help you with your success. Or three, you would like to start building your residual income, like the people in this room, that shared their story have. And we would love to help you get started. We've got a great 90-day game plan, and we can talk to you tonight about those next steps. So wherever you are in those three places, we're so happy you came. And this is the part we're going to connect with each other and talk and ask more questions and enroll and get you to where you need to be. So thanks so much for coming to my house. That made all the difference for me, because you could have those awkward times where it's like, okay, it's over now. Now what do we do? And that was me, right? It's like, okay, anybody want another replenish, or maybe a glass of wine, or, you can go all over the place, but it's boom, it's efficient. And you can get the party started really after that. And I will actually turn on a little bit of, light music afterwards, and we'll stay a little bit longer. And you've had a great launch party when it's like 50 minutes or 45 minutes and people want to stay. And I know that happens for Trevor and Jen all the time, and all kinds of people on this call, that you're doing such a great job. And I learn when I go to other people's launch parties too. But the vibe is your most important part. I love to throw parties. I throw like a Christmas party every year that packs the house. I have theme parties all the time with my friends. I didn't know that was a really great skill set for earning a substantial living. And it is. So if you've got somebody that you're thinking about, and that it's not in Isagenix, like, oh yeah, so-and-so, she always organizes the bus trip to the Blue Jays games, or he always has that cottage party every year, that May 2-4 thing. well, how did you get your friends to go to the Beyonce concert with you? You know, because you all did, right? How did you get how did you go to, I always just say Beyonce or I say usually Justin Bieber, but Carrie Underwood was in Toronto last night. You know, Isagenix is, in my opinion, it is so much more exciting. I love all those people. Queen Bee, yeah. I love all those people. How do you get people to that? Right? You have to come with that same energy, that same connection. And it's just as simple as, hey, I'm having a tasting. I thought of you. You know, you mentioned Isagenix, at Bulls hockey game. I really would love to be there. There's going to be all kinds of cool products to sample. Can you come? If it's a message, it's like, can you get back to me? And it's as simple as that. And you have to just have that connection piece, because that's the most important part. The actual launch party is the easiest part, and I highly recommend you keep it duplicatable. So I'll cut myself off there. I'll www.zivit.com, another important tool I've learned along the business.
Oh, so awesome, you guys. Give it up for Erin. So amazing. Such good tips, you guys. Okay, a couple of takeaways. I see you guys are all like hiding. But if you guys can throw a couple of takeaways, what have we got? What was an aha for you with what Erin shared there?
Hey, Tinya.
Hey.
Yeah, I like to think the real launch party starts when the presentation is over. Mm-hmm. And just everybody's going to kind of drift around to the person that they have maybe connected with, maybe someone that was sad, maybe somebody gave a little thing about their fitness, or their health or whatever it might be, and they kind of drift into others in the room.
Yeah, sorry, my internet cut out there, so I didn't know if you were done. Awesome, thanks for the share. Anyone else have any takeaways there? I know if I'll just share mine quick, I love the theme party. I love the theme idea. I think it's great to do the different themes. I think I'm going to start incorporating that. And also just the 45 to 50 minutes. Like, we've started doing them a lot. They're done in 45 or 50 minutes. I mean, your story of your, first one not talking about Isagenix, well, we talked about it for 3.5 hours. That was my first one. So not effective. So we've all learned a lot since then. Any other shares, you guys, from what Erin was telling us there? All right, you guys are all muted.
The how to close the room was beautiful.
Powerful.
Beautiful. Please post that in the group.
Yeah, fantastic. For sure. Awesome. Okay, Erin, thank you very much for that great information. All right, I'm going to pass it back. Oh, sorry.
2 seconds, just for that next level, because I know we have a lot of leaders on the phone.
Yes.
That next level, someone who mentors me is Sue in Glenfield. The only reason I'm in this business is because they had launch parties. They were so said, like pouring greatness into people. You won't be able to see that unless you have more and more and more. So the fact that Sue had, I think it was like for 3 or 4 years, every single Tuesday, no matter what, you could bring someone to her launch party. That is, why a lot of us are here today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, valuable. Excellent. Okay, Shamus, I'm going to pass it back to you, buddy. Shamus is going to go through the belief piece with us before we wrap it up. Over to you, buddy.
So Tinya's asked me to chat about belief in the comp plan, and consistency really is a theme for that. And huge ups to Erin and her piece on launch parties. That was awesome. So thank you so much. I remember actually you and I met in line at the airport on the way to Dallas for NYKO like 4 years ago. Anyway, so yes, one tribe, one team, homies for life. For me, it's funny. I started making some notes, and I did some bit on Isagenix business about the comp plan. I thought, well, nuts and bolts of the comp plan isn't really the belief piece. Anyone can go to Isagenix business and research the comp plan, and anyone can watch the U+2, them +2. And the thing for me around the belief piece that I've gathered is some of the bonuses about Isagenix, or benefits, I guess. Let's not say bonuses because that gets confusing, but the benefits. I'm not an expert on direct sales, network marketing, compensation plans. I know about ours. I know peripherally about others. But everything I've heard about ours, PK Smith says, Jim Coover will not be remembered for inventing shakes. He will be remembered for inventing the best compensation plan out there. We get paid in a myriad of ways. And PK also says you can really boil them down into two camps. There's income and there's revenue. So the income are things that pay you for the work that you're specifically doing, like your retail profits or your PIBs or those kinds of things. There's really only two ways you get paid on the revenue side, and that's cycles and matching bonus. But the power of a cycle, us as starters, I'm not sure if anyone's Jackson Parr's post in the start group. It was earlier this week, but he posted a screenshot of his bank account, and his post, to summarize, was something to the effect of, I have multiple six figures in this account, and this is the interest I'm making on it. And it was, I don't know, $200 or something a month, which is equivalent to about a cycle a week. He says, stars. But it basically talked about Isagenix as an investment vehicle. And if you use that one cycle a week metric, it's equivalent to having $50,000 in the bank earning 5%. That cycle a week, that $54 every time. So I really encourage you to really understand the power of the residual side. It's not the income side. It's not, I worked for, $54 an hour because I worked my Isagenix business 1 hour a week. No. It's the equivalent of having X amount of dollars in the bank. Where else can you find an economic vehicle that is going to pay you that kind of interest or dividend, if you will? And I'm not a financial guy. You heard my story. I'm an actor. I can, barely balance a checkbook, wow, how antiquated was that? I can barely send email money transfers. I don't know. The point is, residual income. How much money would you have to have in the bank in order to equal that? So I'll leave you there. We're at our 40 minutes. I'm not going to go too much into the nuts and bolts. As I said, if you have any specific compensation plan questions, I encourage you to duplicate. Check out the U+2, Them +2 video. Check out isagenixbusiness.com. Go there for the nuts and bolts. Jim Coover has a phenomenal comp plan video. It's about an hour long on isamovie.com. He really drills into all the ways you can get paid. But on the belief side, really understand what we have. We have a binary comp plan. We get paid every time we have one team has 300, one team has 600, 900 total points. We cycle $54 US, about 59 Canadian dollars. We have unlimited depth. We have holdover volume. My understanding is that is fairly unique to our compensation plan. But the power of the residual side as an economic vehicle, huge. And I want to actually finish off with a little shout out to my shirt designer. It says, I do shots before 6 a.m. #badass. Scott Erin. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. And thank you all.
I love it. That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Shamus. Huge. Great information. So saw lots of nodding and lots of shouts in the chat there on that information. And, I think I know for myself, one of the ways to build belief in the comp plan is to earn. When we are sharing Isagenix and we're starting to see that money pop in, and sometimes there's funny stories of people, phoning I was one of those people that phoned the company with a $500 bonus. I thought they gave it to me by mistake, and I'm so honest, I called them to give give it back. And they're like, no, you earned it. And then I earned it again. I was like, what? I earned it again? So, you know, very, very valuable. And that residual income that, you know, you hear the stories of people who unfortunately go through illness in their family. Something happens, but they stayed consistent with, you know, sharing Isagenix for a few years. And then all of a sudden they've got that little nest egg there to help. So it's so powerful. So before we wrap it up, Scott, can you just share a minute? I don't know if I'm frozen here. Can you just share a little bit about what the wrap up is? Is there a wrap up? Where are we at with the global give back and with the gift cards? Are we still collecting gift cards, or what's happening? I just want the peeps to know how we've done and what's continuing to happen. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, no worries. So we are pretty much wrapped up. The shipment goes out tomorrow, so I've got a bunch here. We have had a bit of a delay in getting them out, which just how it goes. We had some delays trying to get the money out of the GoFundMe account. We were trying to get it as much out of as we could without paying the fee to GoFundMe. We've got it. We've bought the gift cards. We've got recipients on the receiving end ready to go. So the last shipment goes out tomorrow. But we've shut it down at this point. So we've just thanked it. We have to just close it off at some point, which is fine. And but we raised $7,050, which is amazing.
Woo! That is so amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really, really impressed with that, which is awesome. We did not have any matching donors, so that